Well, welcome back, guys. Hopefully, everyone is having a fantastic day. Today, my business partner, Mike Klingler, is going to be showing you step by step how to attract leads to you so you don't have to go after friends, family, loved ones, aunts, uncles, whoever. You're going to learn how people are going to come and start knocking down the door to you. Mike has over 30 years marketing experience, and this is a formula that he has used, and he's giving it to you to share today. So stay tuned and listen in how you can start creating your own Ferris wheel attraction marketing, magnetically connecting to people who you want to be connected with.
All right, guys, if you don't see me in the camera, it's because this isn't about the messenger, it's about the message. I want you to really focus on what I'm covering here because what I'm showing you has made me tens of millions of dollars over my career. It is extremely simple to do. Now, creating the content, knowing what to create, knowing how to create it to get the results isn't simple, but I do that part for you. So you don't have to have the experience. You get to just leverage my content and then start to add your own into it, but not right away. And you can start off with great results. We're talking about marketing in the 21st century, which really means attracting instead of chasing. We're talking about how to get a crowd of people to stand in line and beg to join your network. And that's kind of a cheeky title to a book that I purchased for about $100 in 1998. That it wasn't even a hard copy, it was fax on demand. I don't even know if I read the whole thing. I read the title, I read kind of through it, and I got it. And ever since that point, that's how I wanted to build my business. Set it up so that people come to you. I still see people out there trying to convince people to join them who should not be convinced to join and just working way too hard on the wrong people, even people that might already be on your team. There's certain things that they say, the kinds of questions that they ask, and by their actions, they really have no business being there. If you simply set yourself up to have fun and to attract the right people, you're going to do really, really, really well. That's what this is about. Now, this is not cold market. There's nothing cold about it. In fact, if a prospect comes to you from this process that I'm going to show you and it feels cold, you don't talk to them anymore. Because why would you want to work with somebody that makes things feel cold? Now, there is lead generation and automation and advertising, but that's not what we're talking about because that can be a little cold. And you don't need to work with the cold market. If you follow this really simple process I'm going to show you, it's going to feel very, very warm, even though you don't know them. They kind of feel like they know you, or they want to at least. They want to know you. And that's the key. And if you get the feeling that they might not, you don't have to give them the time of day. You shouldn't, because then you're going to attract a bunch more of that. This is the fundamental secret behind this. This sets it up so only the very, very best people can get your time. How many times have either you or seen so many others giving their time to people that exhaust them, that don't do anything, don't take any action, who just like to make things difficult? You can't get to where you want to go building a team like that. This is about setting it up where you can't help but attract the very best people. So you're only giving them your time. We do it with YouTube and we do it with Facebook. I'm going to go jump in and let some more people in, guys. So excuse me for just a second. Next time I'll have a password, so I don't have to do this. Got to change that setting. All right, welcome guys that just joined us. So you can do it with YouTube and you can do it with Facebook. And you do need to set up those two platforms if you don't have them set up already. Now, a lot of you already have them set up, so you're way ahead of the curve. YouTube. Now, a lot of you get really scared when I talk about YouTube because you think I'm going to go make you do videos. And I'm not saying that the time won't come, but I don't want you to do something to get something that you created in front of maybe my videos that I give you, or maybe in between the videos I give you, so that your entire channel isn't exactly duplicate of mine. But you can get a long ways with YouTube just posting my content, which is pretty amazing. And when you get to the point where you do need to start to do things so it's not 100% duplicate to mine, it'd be pretty easy to do by then, because it's pretty darn easy to do what I'm asking you to do today, because you literally start by just loading my content to your page. And there are a lot of people that are in this community who never had a YouTube channel before. And that's all they've been doing is loading my content, and they're building their subscriber base. They have leads reaching out to them, and they're signing people up. It's pretty incredible. Okay, so there's also Facebook, right? You just got to make sure that you're posting the right kind of content on Facebook. Now, this is where we run into some trouble, because I know a lot of people like to use Facebook to stay connected with the world. And not everybody in the world is a great prospect, but they could be a great friend. And this is where we run into trouble. I made a decision a long time ago that I was going to use Facebook as a tool to accomplish my goals and my dreams in life, to attract my team, my best people who have similar goals, who have similar dreams for their life and their kids' life, and who are really serious about making them happen, and they want to use the best tools that are out there to do it. Now, you don't have to do that, but if you're not following what I do exactly, you are creating additional challenges for yourself. It doesn't mean you can't do it, and it doesn't mean there's not a way to still communicate to your friends and so forth, at the same time that you're using it to duplicate as best you choose to, the same way, the same system and process I am. Just understand, if you do too much of communicating to the wrong group, the group that are your friends and your family and just onlookers that you like to get emotional support from, or whatever it might be, just understand the more you do that, the more you communicate to the Facebook algorithms that that's who you're talking to, then the more it's going to bring back the kind of people who ask the wrong questions and who take up a lot of your time but aren't the right prospect. So it's just a decision you make on how much do you want to fully maximize the process that I use to accomplish extraordinary goals in really short periods of time. It's up to you. I'm going to show you the system. That part's up to you. Now, you can use this system that I'm going to show you to build Forsage. I know we got a lot of people in here building Forsage. That's my bread and butter. I love Forsage. I consider this, and I know we got people in here who maybe don't want to build Forsage. That's going to be okay from now on, because we got a really topsy-turvy market out there. But a lot of you know this is my bread and butter. And the reason why it's my bread and butter is because it's decentralized, number one. It's a smart contract. So I don't have to trust people to do what they say they're going to do. The smart contract's going to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to pay the way it's supposed to pay. Nobody's going to change the compensation plan. No one's going to pull the rug out from underneath me. And even if their site doesn't come up, it still works. That's something I can build an income on. I see Forsage's income paid in Ethereum. Again, I know not everybody wants to build Forsage. That's okay. But that's why it's my bread and butter. And people who work closely with me, I'm going to strongly encourage them, if they're working closely with me, to make it their bread and butter. But some of you want to build energy. That's also in my income stream. It's not my bread and butter because it's an investment. And I'm not going to build an income off an investment. I'm going to take part of my income that I make from my bread and butter, and I'm going to put it into exciting projects like energy, but that's different. It's really different. I've done really well with energy in 4 or 5 days. It's awesome, but that's never going to overshadow my bread and butter. You guys can do what you want to do, though, and that's the power of this system that I'm going to show you. And that's the power of what I'm offering your prospects that's going to attract them to you so that they can get to this kind of training. You're going to get to leverage me in order to attract the best prospects to you, because the only way to get to this training is through you. So if they want to build something else coming into this, go on ahead. Let them think that they want to build something else. But when you surround yourself with a bunch of people who are the right kinds of prospects, they start to want to do what you're doing because it's easier, it's more successful. But if somebody wants to build Bitlocity, I know a lot of you heard of Bitlocity, some of you in Bitlocity, I'm not. But if you want to use this to do that, you can. Some of you want to build Daisy. I originally had a little slide in here of a picture of a Loch Ness Monster as a joke, because it keeps popping its head up, launch and then no launch and then launch and then not quite. And then, you never quite get a full look at it, but maybe they're going to get a launch going. Those of you, and who knows, maybe I'll hop into it at some point as an additional side income stream in order to improve my marketing. We're going to talk about that later, but just understand my bread and butter is Forsage. Your bread and butter can be whatever you want it to be, and you can still benefit from this. And your prospects can come into this with that in mind too, which is very attractive to them. And that's the power of this. So if you want to build Daisy with this, you can do it. Remember Burax? They're belly up now, along with a bunch of other ones that are centralized, right? That offer these high yields. We know that they're high risk, they're unsustainable. They're already belly up. Why did I put it in here? Because we want to even create content around things that might have went belly up. You might wonder, why would that be? We're going to talk about that today. I want you to understand just how much versatility there is to what content I will create for you to post and talk about to attract people that are in those networks, right? Can't just attract people that are already in the company you're in or the program you're in. You got to talk about things that are of interest to some of the greatest prospects in the world that are out there in other networks that are thinking about other things. And then we provide value to them. You get to leverage me to do all of that. You're going to use this. You can use this process to grow any crypto related program that you want to. But here's the kicker. You could also use this to grow a lot of non-crypto related programs. Some of you are in 7K metals. I'm seriously considering about hopping into that at some point, getting some silver and gold coming in. That's what it's built around. Some of you are in different Forex trading bots. You can use this process that I'm going to show you, that I'm going to continue supporting you and making sure you realize how simple it really is when you have this kind of support. If you just follow the process, if you trust the process, just for, 45 days, life-changing. I'm going to show you how you can use it to pretty much grow anything you want, any program you want, any income stream you want. That's up to you, as long as there's some validity to the opportunity, or at least some short-term excitement. You got to at least have that. So let's look at how the right kind of content leads the right kind of people to you. And remember, you don't have to create all this content. You get to take the content that I'm creating from the 30 years of marketing experience I bring, because I would admit that would be pretty challenging to even know what you're supposed to do in terms of what content to create. I do that for you. You can load that to your YouTube account. Now, over time, I'm going to want to encourage you to add something of your own to that, but you don't have to start there. And you will start getting results even before you are required to do that. And we're going to support you through that whole process. You can graduate all the way to top industry earner if you want to. So let's look at the right kind of content that leads the right kind of people to you. In 1 second, I'm going to admit some more people into the group. We have this waiting room. All right.
Mike, if you want to make me an admin, I can do that for you. This is Jason.
Thank you, Jason. I think that's probably a good idea. Appreciate that. Although we have so many people in here that it might be difficult for me to find you. There you are. That helps. Yeah, 1 second, guys. I'm going to make Jason an admin so he can help out here. Appreciate it. So I'm going to make you co-host. All right. Thanks, Jason.
You bet.
A little help from our friends. All right, guys. So let's hop in. That's not the slide. Let's go to, I'm going to go right. Yeah, I'll leave it right there. And I'm going to actually open up this here. Okay, guys, this is where it gets interesting. This is where people who are not successful in marketing, who are looking on at what somebody might be doing who is successful in marketing, they'll be scratching their head going, I don't understand what's going on. First of all, to be successful with this, you don't need to. But what I discovered was that if people don't understand it enough, some of them get angry. It's the weirdest thing. Some of them get angry. All kinds of emotions come up for them. Some of them just get confused, even though I keep saying and kept saying, you don't have to understand this. If you just do it for a couple of weeks, you'll see the results and you'll get it. I mean, look at the results I'm getting, guys, is what I would say. And I kind of felt like there were times where I was kind of grabbing people by the shoulders and shaking them and saying, just do it. Don't make it so complicated. You don't need to know that much. But I found out that a lot of people, I think it's just human nature, they won't even do the easy steps if they don't understand enough as to why. So let's go over how this works so you understand enough to be motivated to try it long enough to get the results. Because then life's never the same. Like when you know how to attract really high quality people to you, or like asking you about the programs that you're in, you're in a completely different position forever. You're in the driver's seat. You start to be selective about who you follow up with, who you decide to enroll even. Life-changing. So let's take some time to make sure people understand it enough to be motivated to actually do it so they can see the result kick in. You don't need to understand it enough to actually have to create the content. I'll be doing that for you. Jason's offered to offer some content as well. So you don't have to actually create the content yourself. Eventually, I'll be encouraging you to step into that role a little bit just to tell YouTube you're not completely copying forever, but you can go a long way, a surprisingly long way on YouTube, just posting my videos, Jason's videos, other leaders' videos that might be contributed to this. Okay, so let's slow down a little bit. Energy coin, you see this title here? Let me click on it. Well, I'm going to go to the first one that I did on energy. Where is it? First one that I did on energy. Why would I talk about energy if I want to build for Saj? Now, again, I know not everybody here wants to build for Saj. I want to acknowledge that. And I think that's important because as we go forward, there'll be a lot of prospects who you attract in they're going to want to be buzzing around this group to learn what we do. And we want to use that value to attract really good people. Because when you attract really good people and you offer them really good value, it's amazing how in most cases they start to become really interested in what you are doing. So energy, I think this was the first one right here. Let me tell you the story about how this came about. So earlier this week, Vitaly, who I've been reaching out to for a few weeks, well, actually maybe more than that, saying, hey, tell me what's going on. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me about the next program. And I knew he was cooking up something because he would kind of communicate. Then I wouldn't hear anything from him, kind of communicate. Like he was looking, he was in a search mode. Because top producers, particularly marketers who have a lot of influence in the market, they're always looking for something really unusual. And suddenly he appears, in Messenger, and he's really excited. This was earlier this last week. And so he starts talking about energy. Now, my focus is Forsage. So why am I even entertaining the time? Because as a marketer, when Vitaly, who has a lot of influence in the industry, is super excited about something that he just joined that day and is going to do his first webinar the next day on, that there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of really good prospects who are going to be looking at energy for the very first time with a lot of excitement. So that's where someone in my position has to take notice. And I didn't know what energy was. I knew Vitaly had a lot, I knew there must be some validity to it because Vitaly was so excited about it, but that's all I really knew. My biggest motivation was to get in front of what was about to happen industry-wide, because I knew if Vitaly was going to promote it, then other influencers were going to start promoting it. In fact, Joshua Elder, a lot of you might not know who he is, but even maybe a larger influence than Vitaly, he promoted it around the same time. I don't know if he saw Vitaly promote it and that's what caught his attention, but it was interesting. They started promoting it at the same time. And now a lot more people have started promoting it, and it's still early. It's still early in the promotional cycle. I mean, imagine Forsage, when Vitaly started promoting Forsage for the very first time last year in February, whenever it was, it took quite a bit of time for that to start to create critical mass. I think it took like 4 or 5 or 6 months from the day he started promoting it. So we have a lot. I knew we had a lot more, coming even from right now that would create massive interest in the industry in energy. And so if I create a video, and again, you don't have to actually know this, but again, as I said earlier, I think the more you know, if you know enough, then it will motivate you to actually do it and not have funny judgments about what's going on that are totally incorrect. So I make a video on energy, and I didn't get any sleep that night because I knew how important it was that the sooner I made it, the sooner I got it out, the sooner I got it out to my team who's following this process. The way the algorithms work, it's just one variable, but it's a big one. That if you're one of the earliest people posting a video on a particular search topic, like energy, then you get locked in as far as getting more exposure to that video forever. So it can make a big difference if I made the video that night before he did the webinar, or if I did it 3 days later, after a lot of people already are starting to talk about it, post videos about it. So I, as a marketer, understanding the significance of the moment, I put everything else aside. Didn't follow up with the dozens of prospects asking me to send them my affiliate link. I didn't follow up with a bunch of people that I promised to follow up with that day, because this was now the priority. So I created that video really quick, not really knowing even what it was, had to immerse myself in it as fast as I could, came to learn it was actually a pretty decent project that I'd like to get into the income stream of. And that's okay, guys. You can be in a primary company. A lot of people misunderstand this and misunderstand what I mean when I say, don't let a bunch of programs that get launched distract you. And they think that that's what this is. It's not what it is. Because in the video, I'm actually promoting Forsage. And I got a lot of prospects reaching out to me from the energy video, asking me about this Ethereum generator, this smart contract, or how we build Forsage. And I have prospects now enrolling who came from this video. They're enrolling into Forsage. I also have people enrolling into energy. See, that's not a distraction. That's a success. It's a success that I'm eager to pass on to you guys. So we're setting up a system now, is what this is all about, where when such events happen, I will be sharing the video with you to download and then upload onto your YouTube channel. And if you've never had a YouTube channel, it's okay, guys. It's not that hard. Millions and millions of people have them. And before they had them, most of them didn't have them. In fact, I could say all of them didn't have them. So they're in the same shoes you're in. It's not a big deal to get a YouTube channel. What's a big deal is to know that when Vitali's launching something, first of all, to have the contact with Vitali that he's telling you first, and then knowing to create a video and knowing what to say in the video, like that is challenging. But you don't have to learn how to do that, because I'll just give you the video. Again, down the road, I will be asking you to add a little intro to the video. Not yet. It's not necessary right away. You can get results without that, but we don't want your entire YouTube channel to forever be exactly video by video the same as mine and a whole bunch of other people's. We do want there to be some uniqueness, or YouTube will think eventually that your channel is not valuable. But it's amazing how far you can get with this strategy on YouTube, just loading my videos as they are. So that's where we'll start. So that was why I created a video on energy. And because I was correct that it was big, I saw Joshua Elder promoting it. It's going to be a staple in our marketing for a while. So you see, energy is what you wanted Beerax to be. So now okay, we'll go a little bit deeper in a second, and you see another energy one. I'm going to introduce new videos here very soon. Tomorrow, I think maybe even tonight or tomorrow, we're releasing one on Weissling, a company that was like Beerax that folded, that went belly up. And then they're reappearing. All of a sudden they reemerge. So, they appeared to exit scam, went belly up, ran off with everybody's crypto. And then like a month or two, or I don't know how long, much longer, they reappeared. And so there's some news, there's some buzz. So I created a video on that, and I want to upload that next so we can get in front of that audience and get in front of that buzz. Now, I'm not going to sign up into that thing. So there are different programs, and you respond to different programs in different ways, and you guys all get to choose, and I get to choose, what we get into and what we don't. You don't have to get into any of these additional programs, and you can still be using them for your marketing to build your subscriber base on YouTube. And I'll talk in a little bit about how it also builds your audience in Facebook. You might be wondering, how does that happen? How does it build your audience in Facebook if we're on YouTube? I'll share that in a little bit. And it also attracts and circles some of the best prospects in the world to you. And we'll talk about how that just starts to create a snowball effect that puts you in a completely different position in the industry. You go from being a consumer in the opportunity industry, which is not a good place to be. You go from being a consumer of opportunities to being an entrepreneur and an effective marketer in the opportunity industry. Much more empowering place to be. So I'm going to continue to use energy as a staple in our marketing. But throughout that content, just like I mentioned today, I will be promoting our ETH generator. I do want to say also, you'll hear me use the word Forsage less and less, although I probably still will use it for marketing purposes strategically. But in most cases, I won't use the term because so many people out there have been exposed to it incorrectly, presented it incorrectly, that people have this concept of what it is. And we build it so differently, and we offer so much additional value around it that I don't want them to immediately dismiss it based on the name. You know what I mean? So we'll probably usually be using terms like ETH generator, ETH growing system, these kinds of things to refer to Forsage on the front end, so we can attract a lot of people who are maybe influencers in the industry who think they know what Forsage is. That gets their interest. They reach out to us, what's this ETH generating system? And then, then we can present to them how we do it, how we build differently, so we can continue attracting them. But You're going to see me create content, all kinds of things, all kinds of programs, because this is how you attract people who are looking up other stuff. And it's super important and it's super effective. Okay, let's get a little bit more niche. Again, you don't need to know this stuff, but I've learned, as I said earlier, I've learned if you don't know what's going on enough, I notice people just aren't motivated to do it. They just don't trust the results for some reason. You show them all these crazy results you're getting, and it's just not enough. They're like, but they start asking all these questions. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not getting any results. Why are you even asking that? Like, just do what I said. It doesn't work. Herding cats, we call it. It's like herding cats. And so I'm taking some time to explain some of these things. Just understand you don't have to actually know this stuff. You can just post my videos, do what I say to do, keep it really simple on yourself and get the results. And then you'll see it working, and then you'll understand how it works because you'll see it working. That's the other option. I know some of you are capable of that, of following a process, of trusting the results, trusting the person who's successful at it. That's how I always did things. If I wanted to learn something, I would just do what the person who was successful said to do. And then I would very quickly, seems like faster than just about everybody else, because that's all I would do, I would get results. And then I was like, oh, wow. And I'd see how it works. And I would see how it works firsthand. That's how I like to learn. But I know that's not most people. So if I can get you motivated enough to actually do what I'm saying to do, so you see the results, you understand how it works firsthand, then I've succeeded. So that's why we're talking about this, not because you need to actually know it. Okay, so let's look at another thing. So this headline says energy is what you wanted Baulch to be. Now, those of you building Forsage or some other program, you might go, you already forgot what I said because you're so headstrong, and you're saying, what's that have to do with my program? I'm growing Forsage, or I'm growing whatever program. I'm growing Bitlocity. I'm growing Daisy. Why am I talking about this stuff? Why am I posting a video that says anything like that? Well, I kind of already explained it, but let's go a little bit deeper. Baulch recently went belly up. Baulch recently went out of business. And so there's a lot of buzz around Baulch. Guys, this isn't rocket science, by the way. There's a lot of buzz around Baulch because they just went out of business and ran off with a bunch of people's crypto. Now, you don't have to know that. I'm the expert. I have to know that. And I have to, you get to leverage me for knowing it. So it's not like you have to know this stuff. That's the beauty of all this. But I want you to understand it enough to know what we're doing so you don't judge it and dismiss it. So that's why I'm going through all of this. You don't have to actually know any of this. I'll know it for you, and then you'll see the results, and you'll figure out over time what's going on, but you can get the results before you even know all this stuff. Baulch just went out of business. There's a huge audience, obviously, searching for it, looking for it. They got their antennas up about it because Baulch just ran off with their crypto. That means there's a big audience there of really good prospects who need a solution. What do they need? A program that doesn't go out of business and run off with their crypto. Right? It's not about rocket science. They'd be really interested in that topic. So when if you say something like energy is what you wanted Baulch to be, I'm talking to a very specific group of people, aren't I? In that headline. And I get a talk in the video. And, again, you use my videos. You get to use my videos. I get to talk in the video about how energy is a decentralized version of Baulch, basically, and what that means and why that's important and how that can't run off with your crypto, but it can still have a lot of the same benefits. You see how that would be of interest to this the swarming huge audience of people who are in Baulch, who are emotionally so charged, so excited about it. Even a lot of them, even really top influencers in the industry. And then it goes out of business and runs off with everyone's crypto. I mean, imagine the emotional charge, right? And so they're really going to pay attention. And there's a lot of really good people in there that we can help. We can help them understand why that happened. Again, my content can do that for you. When you load my video up there with a similar headline, and by the way, don't use the exact same wording. I give these tips. When you download my videos, guys, I give all these tips about like how to make a headline and stuff, and we'll keep supporting you on that. Like, you don't want to use my wording. Like if you're loading my video, that's one thing. It's duplicate content, right? But if you're also doing the same headline as me or too close, YouTube's not going to like that. They don't want duplicate channels. So you definitely, need to look at what I wrote and like think to yourself, and I give you tips when you download the video, think to yourself, what are the key words here? Okay, in this case, energy is the key word and Birax is the key word. Maybe take one of these words, but you need to create your own headline that's not too close to mine. You can use the key words, but be careful about it being too close. You know what I mean? And same thing with the description down here. You're gonna wanna like make it your own. I give you tips on that, and that's where I'll support you. But again, you're still modeling very closely to what I'm doing, so it's not difficult to do. It is paint by numbers. But that's why, that's the kind of stuff that I'm doing. This put the video in front of the Birax audience. It's a very emotionally charged audience that's going to pay attention. Now you might think, okay, so it's selling them on energy, but I mentioned Forsage, or I mentioned the Ethereum growing system. So I'm still leading people to that. And if I don't mention it in any of the content, now some of our staple marketing, I'll drill down. Like you might see me make some energy videos. A lot of them mention Forsage directly. A lot of them at least reference strongly. I have this income generating system reach out to me. Even so, 1 second here. Okay. So I changed this text recently. That's another thing I'm going to talk about in a second is sometimes you can change the text down here when new things change. I'll talk about that in a minute. So we're being very strategic about the content that we're creating, that we're passing on to you, to get in front of key audiences and lead them to us, lead them to you with your links down here. You put your Facebook Messenger down here. I'm also going to start putting a link directly to my Facebook profile, and you should put a link to your Facebook profile. And I'm going to encourage them to say, also, put a comment on one of my posts. So I find you faster because sometimes I get a lot of messages, so, go ahead and put a comment. That's also going to help your rankings on Facebook to do that. I'll be giving you tips on what to put in here, but these are your links. Now you might be saying, well, I don't want to be in energy, so I don't want to have a link, to energy. I want to build Forsage, or I want to build Daisy, or whatever it might be. Well, you don't have to. And how does that help you? Because in the videos, I'm constantly reinforcing that we teach them how to do things like I'm teaching you today, and to reach out if they would like to plug into that. In the videos, I'm constantly reinforcing and hinting to, there's other opportunities here. We support you. Reach out to get that support, to learn how to attract prospects to you and so forth. You get to leverage everything you see me doing, but they got to go through your link to get to that value. And even videos where you're just not even sure, how does it connect? Like I'm not building that program. For example, I'll be posting one on Wiseling. I'm not in Wiseling. I'm not going to have any link to sign up into Wiseling. I want to get the content in front of that audience just to lock it in. Also to tell the search engines. I also want to post Wiseling, and I do a lot of this to tell the search engines who we are and what kind of people we want to put our content in front of. So when they see that we all loaded something about Wiseling, they know that our channels are for people who are also in Wiseling. And it already reads all of that. The AI already reads all of that. Again, you don't have to know this, guys. I know this, and I apply this to the types of content I create to get in front of specific audiences. And when you load the videos up to YouTube, it's putting you in front of those specific audiences, and it leads them to your links, whatever links you want to put there. It should make some sense. Like, for example, reach out to me on Facebook Messenger to learn about the energy project. Now, look, if I wasn't in energy, if I wasn't in the income stream of energy, I might still say that. And when they reach out to me, I go, yeah, it's a really cool project. I'm looking at it. I'm thinking about joining it. But what we really have going on here is we're showing people how to attract really high quality leads to them. I've also got this ETH generator, Forsage. Like, you could do whatever you want once they reach out to you. But all the while, you're leveraging all of this stuff to build your subscriber base, to build your Facebook audience with the right kind of prospects who are coming to you, putting you in a position, of authority. of being able to guide them as an expert, even if you're not the expert yourself yet, by directing them to the types of resources I'm talking about in the video and to webinars just like this one, where they can learn and duplicate this stuff themselves. Okay. Same thing with CryptoWare, same thing with TronStake. I heard a bunch of people, I never got into it. A lot of people that were in BeerX, as soon as BeerX went belly up, started reaching out to me about TronStake. I said, this one's going to collapse even faster than those did when I looked at it. And sure enough, it was like 3 days later, it collapsed. And so as soon as it collapsed, I posted a video to get in front of that audience once again. And we're just going to keep doing this, guys. This is extremely effective as a strategy. I'll create content that puts us in front of all kinds of audiences. If you don't have a YouTube channel, get one. We'll talk about that at the end of this. If you do have a YouTube channel, we're going to start, well, a lot of you have already started. And if you haven't, then tomorrow I recommend you load your first video. It's going to be on Weisling. And don't expect every video to be a home run. It doesn't work like that. Not at all. Sometimes it is, but like I didn't even create the video we're posting tomorrow to do phenomenally well. I just wanted to get something on Weisling on our channels because it's important to do that, to tell the search engines that we're in the know and that that's a part of our audience. And because there's a little buzz around it because it went out of business a long time ago and then all of a sudden it popped back up. So there's going to be some searches and some interest on that topic. I know almost nothing about Weisling, so I couldn't really provide a lot of substantive value on it. We're basically just posting that one just to post it, just to to increase our subscriber base, to tell the algorithms what our channel is about. Sometimes that's the purpose of posting these videos. And some of them will be a home run, particularly if you're posting them consistently. Guys, once you get this down, it will take you like 5 minutes a day to do this. And we don't even do it every day. So we're talking almost no time at all. Now, again, it might take more time to get your YouTube channel set up for the first time, but that's a small price to pay. It's not that hard. And then you're done with that. It takes almost no time to maintain this process, a life-changing process. Okay, so let's look a little bit more closely at, well, let me show you the text, which again, you don't need to know this because I give you this input as we go forward, but I want you to know enough that you see what's going on. So when BeerX wasn't, when BeerX was starting to go out of business, and again, you guys won't have to know this stuff. You just post my videos at the time. Just remember that. I'm only sharing this so you have enough context to actually do it, so you understand what's going on. So when I initially posted this video, you know, I had something different here. So, but now we didn't, because we didn't know if they, well, we kind of knew they were exit scamming, but we knew the audience didn't know that. Like if we would have been really clear about it, they're definitely exit scamming, you lost your money, people would have been mad, even though we knew they were exit scamming. I couldn't say that in the video. I had to say, you know, looks like it, like it's not looking good, but maybe there's hope. I had to say all that because otherwise I'd have all these angry comments, you know, with people who just couldn't face reality. So this message was a little bit different down here. They wouldn't have been ready to look at another program or anything like that when they were nervous about it closing. So at that time, again, I do this stuff for you guys. You don't have to even know this, but I just want you to know enough to actually follow through. At that time, when it was unclear if they were exit scamming or not to the main audience, it was clear to us, but it was unclear to the, you know, most people. We had in here, we knew they wouldn't be looking at another program. So we provided value. And a lot of you were a part of that. We said, you know, hey, if you want to follow along and get updates as this BeerX debacle is going on, so you could be surrounded by a community of others that might have some insight or some information that would be helpful, you know, click here on my Facebook and ask me to add you to a group where we'll do that. And so a whole bunch of people wanted to be added to that were scared about losing their funds in BeerX, but were hopeful that it would still go through, you know, work during that week, that 2 weeks of the unknown period where it started to look bad, but people were still hopeful. That's what this used to say and do. And so if you were loading my videos at that time, you would load the video, you would say something similar, not the exact wording, but something similar. And you would have all these prospects at that time reaching out to you to get added to that group, and you would get to add them to the group. And whenever we set up groups like that, guys, I don't post any of my links in there. We keep it a safe zone. So you can add all the prospects that you're generating from the videos that I give you and all this marketing knowledge, these prospects reaching out to you, and you get to leverage even the chat group that I create. Just remember that when we set things like that up, that happens in the future, and it could, again, where there's a time where it makes sense to do that. It's another reason for prospects to reach out to us. Make sure, so we're providing value to them, right? Make sure if you add them to a master group that I'm leading, and again, I call them master groups. If they're groups, I won't be putting my affiliate links in ever or anything like that, because I know that your guys' leads are in them too with mine. Just make sure if you ever add anyone to a master group like that I'm leading, and you're leveraging me like that, make sure that you add that prospect to your own Facebook chat group too. And I don't mean like just you and them. I mean a chat group, like a group. Like if 10 prospects reached out to you and you added them to that group that I created, you're also adding them to your own little chat group. And so they know who the heck you are. Because a lot of times I'm selling people for you in those groups, and people will say, oh, I want to sign up in Forsage, because they're hearing about it. And I'm like, who referred you to this group? Oh, I don't know. Okay. And then like 3 days later, someone comes in, oh, that was mine. That was me. Remember me? And it's like, how would that person know you if like you just added them to the group and they never heard from you again? So you add them to your own chat group too, and you say, hey, it's Pam. I added you to the such and such group. Mike's awesome. I may say so myself. He's going to be really helpful to you. He's my business partner. I work closely with him. In fact, we have a lot of great leaders in there. You're going to meet, there's this guy, Jason. He's just amazing. This guy, Jeremy. You just, run through all the people that make this group valuable to you. So you got all these people and you got me. And I'm your conduit to all this because they're way too busy. And so if you ever have questions or anything, I'm here. In fact, I'll be posting stuff in this group to you that they've shared that I want to make sure you didn't miss. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if they ever ask you a question, guys, you don't know the answer to, that's a great question. Let's go ask it in the group. You don't even have to know the answer. You're just, they need to feel like there's a warm hand nearby that they could grab onto when they're scared. They just want to feel like there's somebody there. That's all it is. Someone to direct them. Oh, let's go ask that. Let's add you to the tech support group. And you could add them to the tech support chat group. The resources are here, guys. The value is here. You don't have to create the value. But you have to do enough to plug in, right? Just to plug in. That's all you got to do. All right, that's enough on the videos. I think you get it, right? We're creating content that is strategic. Yes, sometimes we may find something that we want to get into the income stream of. Doesn't mean you have to. Doesn't mean it's a distraction from the main thing. It's not. It's strategic marketing. And strategic in getting in multiple income streams, but you don't have to. It's an individual choice. You definitely want to post all the content though that leads prospects to you, plug them into various things that we're doing. Oh, that's what I wanted to end that with, that when BRX, we changed the message. Before we had that support group, right? But once it was clear to the world they were exit scamming, we were able to go back to these videos, and I'll guide you through this stuff when these things happen, and change this. Now it was like BRX did exit scam. That's not what it used to say. It said like, is it like we're concerned they might be exit scamming, because we knew the people in BRX weren't ready for the truth. But now they were. It's obvious. BRX exit scam. But have you heard of Energy Token? So now this helps us get on the YouTube search engines and stuff, helps get our content in front of people searching for energy. So even this can possibly get in front of them, but even more so, people that are still searching for BRX or that YouTube knows was in BRX based on the content they're watching, it will show up over here in suggested videos, this here, and it can lead them to another video, right? Which you could have uploaded as well, guys, which is about energy, which talks about Forsage. It's a funnel. It's a marketing funnel. Some people are so funny. They think marketing funnels have to be exactly how ClickFunnels told me to do it. It's like, no. If you're really good at marketing, you're creating ClickFunnels all the time at all kinds of platforms and tools. This is a funnel. They were at the other video. Now they're on this video. This video leads to Forsage because that's what I'm building. Let's say you're on this call and you're not even, you don't want to build Forsage. Or let's say you have prospects that start, really, influential prospects that come to you and they end up wanting to, like join one of our groups or whatever that teach on this stuff, but they're in another program. You want to be surrounded by people like that, guys, because they're going to eventually want to join you in your programs if they're getting value from you and working with us. But for those of you, in something, but let's say you're listening right now, you don't even want to build Forsage. And I keep talking about Forsage. Guys, by posting these videos, by posting this content, you're going to surround yourself with people, with prospects that are really high quality prospects. And if you can offer them any value at all, and again, it's going to be easier if you're in the programs that we're in, right? Because then you can just plug into all of our value. But if you want to build something completely different than anything we're building, you can still do this, build your subscriber base, build your Facebook audience, and surround yourself with the highest quality prospects in the world, ones you could never buy. Like literally they're worth probably about $1,000 each if you did advertising. And, totally change your position in the marketplace, and then just figure out what kind of value you're going to offer, in order to direct them where you want to direct them. But I mean, even that is phenomenal that you can plug into that here and do that and be a fly on the wall and use the content if you want to and take and steal everything that we're doing with our permission, even if you're not building the programs that we are. Those of you that are building Forsage as your main bread and butter, that are open to getting into the income streams here and there, if it makes sense, or you can, afford it at the time, then you're modeling exactly the process I am. Obviously, that just makes it easier because then you get to, leverage all of the value that I do. Just a lot less work for you. Okay. All right. So how do they get from YouTube to Facebook? I said this was going to take 45 minutes, guys. It ends up being more. How do they get to YouTube and Facebook? Because I never did this actual presentation before. How do they get from YouTube to Facebook? That's a really good question. And I should say, if you have to go, if you only schedule time like, 45 minutes, an hour, and you've got to go catch the rest of the replay. So this is important, though. This is super important. It gets bigger. It gets even more powerful, way more powerful. We're using YouTube to bring in new people, and we're bringing them over. The best ones come to Facebook, I'll go get to that in a second. So here's someone who says, please, I need to know about Forsage. That was their first message to me. I get hundreds of these a month, if not more. Way more than I can follow up with. That's why I want to share the abundance. I have way more fruit than I can eat. Way more. So what all of this is about, guys, is I have something so effective that I have about 100 times more fruit than I can eat. I'm literally handing it to you. And if you guys do it too, you're actually going to produce even more fruit. And you're going to have an abundance of fruit, more than you can eat. And you're going to try to hand it to other people. And that's how this thing explodes. Because everyone's got abundance instead of lack. Another one that just came to me. I got so many of these guys, it's ridiculous. Hi, Mike, I saw your video on energy and have decided to give it a shot. Thought that since it was your video that attracted me to it, that it was only fair you should benefit in some small way from the commission. So, he'd already signed up from energy just automatically. And then, I haven't even talked with him yet. He's a great guy. I've had some conversations with him, just, in Facebook Messenger. And, he'd be someone fantastic to introduce to Forsage because, Forsage is an income generator. And again, if you guys are in other programs, you want to promote other programs you're excited about, you have that opportunity to do that. But I definitely going to ask him if he's heard of Forsage. Doesn't this just make sense? And there's more value that you get to leverage that we offer. For example, when someone comes in like that, we can build them a little sales page, which is more value. Now, right now I'm doing that. I'm having my VA do that for free for people. It will come to the point where we need to charge like $25 or whatever it ends up costing for us to administrate that, but we're not going to make a profit on it. We want to pass on your ability to provide massive value at scale. Okay, so that's, so the leads start coming in because they're clicking on those links under the YouTube video. That's one thing, but what else is happening? And this is big, guys. If you got to go like any minute, stay long enough to hear this. This is powerful. What else is happening while we're doing all this? I've hinted to it and referenced it a few times, but let's really put our finger on it because it's massive. the algorithms on YouTube and the algorithms on Facebook and the algorithms on Google start going to work for you for the first time in most of your lives. Do you understand that for most of you up until now, you have been telling the YouTube, Facebook, and Google algorithms that you're a consumer and not an entrepreneur? There's a lot of you who even have entrepreneur written as your job description on Facebook who think you're putting out content stating that you're an entrepreneur, stating that you represent this opportunity or that opportunity. But because of all the posts that you do, and because of the conversations you have, and because of the people that you choose to engage with, they know you're not an entrepreneur. They know you're a consumer. And so what that means is when you do post content on YouTube or you do post something on Facebook, Google and YouTube and Facebook don't put your content in front of people like me. They put it in front of people, the kinds of people you're engaging with every day, or the kinds of people that are engaging with the kinds of topics and things that you're talking about. And that's why it's so important to model what the marketing leaders in this community are posting on their Facebook, which is shop talk. I'm not saying that you completely dismiss, your former audience, but you might want to find other ways to communicate with your former audience. You want to fill your Facebook up with shop talk. And it shouldn't be generic information. Like even this, which is somewhat on the inspiration, motivational development side, which is fair game for shop talk, but it's not like generic. People who create, and you get to just look at what I'm posting, look at what Jason's posting, look at what other leaders in the community are posting that are getting the big results. And we'll talk about that in the future calls so you know who they are and you can learn from them. You can go to their pages and look at the shop talk and look at how they do it and say the same thing, but in different words. You don't want to duplicate copy, but you can say the same thing. You don't have to have the knowledge then, you see? It's like, look at this. This is not generic personal development stuff. People who create results, rather than just work on it, are always in forward motion. People who struggle to duplicate are often overly fixated on questions, issues, or on solving problems that aren't necessary to get the result they want. Flip the switch, let go of the heavy stuff and go forward. There's nothing generic about that message, and yet it falls into the personal development category. And so when I tell people, hey, post stuff in the personal development category, that's one of the categories. The other category is crypto. The other category is like content that speaks to network marketers. When I talk about these different categories, I'll see somebody post some really generic, like personal development quote. That's not going to do the job. Notice what I'm doing. Don't use the exact same words, but you can say this in 1,000 different ways in your own voice. Okay. So, this is a life-changing strategy. I'm giving you the content, like everything is laid out, even taking the time to explain it and break it down. It just is not ever going to get easier than this, guys. Step 1, if you don't already have it set up Facebook. That includes a Facebook profile and a Facebook business page. If you don't know how, we will help. Step 2, set up a YouTube channel if you don't already have one. If you don't know how, we will help. Step 3, post the right content to Facebook. I just talked about that. I can't make you do it. I can't make you do it. How bad do you want it? The cryptocurrency industry ain't going to be here in this state that it's in right now with the opportunities it presents right now forever. It is just not going to be. And you will look back one day and wonder and scratch your head on why you didn't participate bigger, bolder. How much do you want to spend on making those posts that you make that get a bunch of loves and a bunch of likes from people that are never, ever going to contribute to you accomplishing your real goals and dreams? Post the right content to Facebook so Facebook will start putting the content in front of different people. Step 4, post the right videos to YouTube. You can post mine. Jason's offered to provide some. I bet Robin Lynn will provide some. We're going to continue organizing this better and better and better. Some of you have already started. If not, start tomorrow. Post the right videos to YouTube. You can start with ours. Step 5, when prospects reach out to you, send them what I give you to send them. Now, you can tweak that and stuff, but you don't tweak it so much, it's not the system anymore. So for example, we've been coming out with this here, Duplicate Success. And I know it's not out yet. I've been sharing it in different ways over and over again, but not so organized. This is going to take you step 1. Like when a prospect reaches out to you, it tells you exactly what to send them in text. You just copy this, and then you can literally forward them my audio message. You just say like, Mike's my business partner. Work closely with him. Let me just send you an audio from him. He's, made 850 ETH in 4 months. And I'd like you to just kind of hear from him for a second so that you follow the same system that's working so well. Here's Mike. And then you forward them the audio like this. And then step 2, what to say next. And it tells you exactly what to say next. And it tells you exactly what audio to forward. Now, obviously you could record your own audio that says the same thing. And it mentions that in here. This takes you through exactly what to do and say, even forwarding my audio messages, though you're building the relationship. Because at this point, when they're going through this, they don't even know my last name. They got to go through you to get to me. And I've got hundreds of prospects trying to just begging me to send them my affiliate link. I don't have time to do it. So, you can mention to them, you can reach out. If anyone asks you to talk to me, we could try, but like, this is the system he's providing for us. And I'm your conduit to success here. But you guys don't have to actually even say what's in the audios if you don't want to. If you're not ready for that, you forward them the audios that I send to my prospects that have been so successful to duplicate success. And this might look like a lot, but it's taking you through the whole process from when a prospect reaches out to you, what to send them and what to forward them in the audio, all the way to them enrolling. So I know this isn't out yet. It's almost done, as you can see. It'll be out any moment. In the meantime, let's get so many prospects, high quality prospects coming to you that you would never be able to follow up with them all. So you can start being selective and choosy too. So step 5, when prospects reach out to you, send them what I give you to send them. And I wanted to throw this in there to be a little cheeky, but also, let's be honest, you probably already forgot step 1 and 2, right? Do you remember step 1 and 2? Set up YouTube and Facebook. You can all do it. I know you can do it. Even if you're tech challenged, even if you're scared of new stuff, even if you're scared of learning, I promise you can do it. I've been teaching people this stuff for, 15, 20 years, just this stuff. Been in marketing for 30 years, since I was 16. I've been innovating systems that attract people to me, even when I was 16. I was doing it naturally in some of the projects I was in. I've been teaching people for 15 years as my main focus. I'm telling you, I've seen it all. I've seen people who struggle with tech. I struggle with tech, by the way. I've seen people who struggle with learning, who are afraid to learn, like my sisters. Some people just get really scared when it's time to learn. They don't trust themselves on learning. I'm telling you, if that's you, if you see yourself that way, you can do this. Everybody can do this, guys. You can get YouTube and Facebook set up. Don't know how? Do a YouTube search right after this call, or write it down in your calendar for tomorrow. Do a YouTube search. And the search should say something like, how do I set up a YouTube channel for beginners? How do I set up a YouTube channel for beginners? I didn't say a Google search, guys. So you got to follow instructions. If you get a Google search, it's going to be really hard. But if you actually do exactly what I say all the time, things get really easy. Do a YouTube search, not a Google search. It matters. And you will find that there are millions of people willing to teach that because it's general knowledge. I don't like to teach general knowledge anymore. If millions of people know how to do it, if lots of 15-year-olds know how to do it and have created really good videos showing people how to do it, that's not really what I should be teaching. I do the specialized knowledge. That's where the money is. You can set up a YouTube account. That's how you do it. And we've got your back. It's not going to end there. We're going to be here next week. Same time, same place. And there we'll be here to answer your questions. There will be there to support you through whatever challenges you're dealing with. And we're going to do this every week, next Monday, the following Monday, and the following Monday, to make sure everyone's got this down, that everyone's been able to make the transition to attracting people instead of chasing them. Maybe you're already ready, and you're like, Mike, okay, you really like, you know, I'm way beyond that, Mike. And I've got my YouTube channel. I've got my Facebook channel. Okay, make sure that, what's your next step? Make sure that you join our Facebook group. I'll give you that link in a second. Most of you probably in there, but we got to start at the beginning. Make sure that all of you, in fact, even those of you who aren't ready, that are still setting up a Facebook and YouTube account, make sure that you join the group that I'm going to give you a link to in a second. If you're not in there already, it's where I'm going to be giving you the content from now on, starting tomorrow. Now, if you don't have your YouTube account set up tomorrow and I post a video, don't get all anxious on me. It's okay. You don't need to jump in tomorrow if you're still setting up your YouTube account tomorrow, but you could definitely have your YouTube account set up this week and jump in next week unloading the content. You don't have to be perfect to be successful. I'm a shining example of that, guys. So is everybody who's successful. You do not have to be perfect, and you don't have to implement and execute perfectly at all to be successful. All you got to do is post the content I give you, follow the process I give you. How do you find that group? Because that's where everything's going to happen. A lot of you are already in there. It's the Cash Injection Team Builder group, not the chat group, because not enough people fit in there. I wish we could, because I could do audio. But I'm talking about the big Facebook group where, you know, it's unlimited, the number of people that can join. And again, I'm not going to be giving my links and stuff in there. And we're going to be setting up all kinds of protocols, and it's not going to be perfect, but to make sure that people have to sign up through you and not other leaders in the community. We go through painstaking steps to do that the best we can without, you know, cutting ourselves off at the legs and making none of this work. That group won't have any promotional stuff in it like that. So you'll want to be able to plug your new team in there. www.facebook.com/groups, plural, groups, /cash injection team builder. If you don't have time to write that down, of course, you can catch this replay. Just fast forward to the end of this when you're in a position to be able to go there. Most of you are already in there. You can also talk to Refer, because they're likely in there as well. The ultimate message here, guys, is follow a simple system that works. If you can do that, I promise you, you can be wildly successful. You can even become a top earner very quickly, because I'm showing you ninja marketing strategies, and not just showing them to you, but giving you ninja content that a lot of times you won't even know why I created that and how the heck that helps, but you'll see how it works, and you'll see it working for you if you just do it. All right, guys, meet me here next Monday, same time. It'll be more of a Q&A session. Invite any of your team to next week too, so we can support everybody to lock this in, to overcome whatever they couldn't do between now and next Monday to implement this stuff. Just make sure you don't invite anybody to next week's that didn't, you know, that's not here today, unless they watched this replay. All right, guys. So that's it for now. That's a wrap. I'll post this replay soon for those in your team that missed it, or for those that want to watch it again. Pretty simple though, right? Probably don't even need to watch it again. Pretty simple. It's going to stay simple too. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you have way more fruit than you can eat. All right. So you can pass that on. So you can pay that forward. That's the beauty of this model. That's what we're doing here, creating abundance. I'll see you next Monday.
Welcome back, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed what Mike got to share with you. Hopefully you took some bullet points there. And most of all, start putting it all into practice. Now, those who are not in my group yet, and you'd love to be part of the team, to be able to help support you out there with the content and help you to get everything running smoothly, having someone accountable. We'd love to have part of our group there. And even if you're not going to do our programs, that's totally fine. We still would love to have you on board. And even if you're not doing the Forsage and the other things that we're sharing on YouTube here, we'd love to see you getting leads and attraction marketing working for you, so you can magnetically connect to people who you want to be able to connect to, and to be able to inspire people into the programs that you want to inspire people into. So remember to reach out to me. See the link down below. Make sure you subscribe. Press the bell so you get the latest updates here. We look forward to you being part of the group, connected with us. We share and deliver great, wonderful content that you can put up onto your YouTube, even if it's not to the programs that you are into. Again, as Mike has shared, we are here to support and guide you to be onto that 8-figure success that you want to see in 2021. Bye for now.